I'm going to call to order the City of Groton Mayor and Council meeting for Monday, October 2nd, 2017. Clerk Patrick, please call the roll.
Present are Mayor Keith Hedrick, Councilors Joe Rusk, Stephen Sheffield, Conrad Heath, Rashad Carter, Finance Director Ron Newhouse, Clerk Deborah Patrick, excused are Councilor Jamal Beckford, and Deputy Mayor Lawrence Garish.
Will you please stand for the salute to the flag? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I need a motion to suspend the rules to move Resolution R-17-10-138, resolution that the Mayor and Council approve the appointment of Daniel Y. Hammett as a probationary police officer grade D in the City of Groton Police Department, and that the appointment be effective October 2nd, 2017, and Resolution R-17-10-139, resolution that the Mayor and Council approve the appointment of Jean-Philippe L. Precourt as a probationary police officer grade D in the City of Groton Police Department, and that the appointment be effective October 7th, 2017, and move them right after the salute of the flag.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, Councilor Russ.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution R-17-10-138. Therefore, be it resolved that the Mayor and Council approve the appointment of Daniel Y. Hammett as a probationary police officer grade D in the City of Groton Police Department, and that the appointment be effective October 2, 2017. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Chief?
Good evening. I was very excited to present Daniel Hammett, age 29, of Scotland, Connecticut, to the council tonight. He was a graduate of Wyndham Tech in Willimantic. He was born in Putnam, Connecticut, raised in Scotland, Connecticut. He's worked as an emergency medical technician for the past 5.5 years for Manchester Ambulance Service covering the greater Hartford area. In that time, he's been promoted to a driver training officer, which led to him being promoted to a field training officer. He has personally cared for over 1,000 patients per year during his service up there. For 5 years, he's been an active member of the Scotland Volunteer Fire Department and served as an EMS lieutenant and EMS captain. He's volunteered for community events, including the Manchester Thanksgiving Day Road Race, EMS coverage in the area, food drives, the Scotland Highland Festival, and the Scotland Volunteer Fire Department breakfast with Santa Claus. His experience as a first responder has made him realize his passion for helping people and being an active member of the community he serves. With the number of EMS calls that we go, his expertise is welcome in our agency, and the council will be pleased to know I met one of our newest residents today who indicated to me that she moved with a special needs child to Groton City because of the level of service that fire, EMS, and police provide them. This gentleman will definitely assist with that service. He will be pinned by a family member.
Okay.
Yeah.
We need to
That's right.
do the motion first, right?
We've already done the motion.
Oh, we need to do the vote.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. Okay, any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Clerk Patrick?
Okay, then I will need you to face that way, please. I'm going to make this easy and I'm not going to read it. And all you'll have to do is say your name.
Okay.
Your name. Say your name.
Daniel Hammett.
Do solemnly swear or affirm that you will faithfully support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Connecticut, that you will discharge the duties of a police officer grade D with the City of Groton in accordance with the law and the rules and regulations of the city and said department, that you will faithfully serve your citizens and visitors with honor and integrity, and will promote and maintain the public trust, adhere to the department's code of ethics, and that you assume these obligations freely, voluntarily, and without reservation.
I do.
Congratulations.
Speech. Speech.
Do you want to say anything?
Speech.
I mean, you can, you don't have to.
I mean, to put him on the spot.
It's not required, but
Your training begins now.
I just wanted to say thank you to the City Council for giving me this opportunity. It's been a career path, a dream of mine to become a police officer, and you guys fulfilled that for me, so thank you very much.
Good job.
Councilor Sheffield.
Resolution R-17-10-139. Therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and council approve the appointment of Jean-Philippe L. Precourt as probationary police officer grade D in the City of Groton Police Department, and the appointment be effective October 2nd, 2017. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Chief?
Again, I'm pleased to present to the council John Philippe Precourt for appointment to the police department. He's 22 years old. He was born in Quebec, Canada, moved to the United States when he was 13 years old. He's a dual citizen. He is fluent in French. He speaks, he reads, and he writes it. Graduated from Norwich Free Academy in 2012, where he played soccer and tennis all 4 years. Graduated with a 3.8 grade point average. He has a Bachelor of Science in Criminal Justice with a concentration in Law Enforcement Administration from the University of New Haven, graduating in 2016. He has a certificate in Victim Services also from the University of New Haven. He graduated from the University of New Haven with a 3.8 grade point average. He was a member of the Honor Society for Experiential Education, Soccer Club, and took part in undergraduate student government by election to a committee in 2016. He has studied abroad at the prestigious Korean National Police University, and he has studied abroad in Italy for 4 months, taking various classes for criminal justice, and traveled extensively in Europe and Morocco. Did an internship with the Connecticut State Police under the Major Crime Unit at Troop B in 2013 and 2014, assisting with projects and investigation, and observed troopers in the field. He worked for 5 years in his first job when he was 17 as a roofer at a mill in Plainfield, and was eventually promoted from inside labor to the printing company that his boss owned. He's been training for over 5 years in karate locally, and his hobbies include running, Spartan races, martial arts, and he has coaching experience with youth in the NFA area. He is a very well qualified candidate for this position.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Kirkpatrick? I know, it's been exciting.
That makes you.
I think we're going to do the same thing, where you'll just say your name and I will read the rest.
Jean-Philippe Precourt.
You solemnly swear or affirm that you will faithfully support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Connecticut. You will discharge the duties of a police officer grade D with the City of Groton in accordance with the law and the rules and regulations of the city and said department. You will faithfully serve our citizens and visitors with honor and integrity. You will promote and maintain the public trust and adhere to the department's code of ethics. That you assume these obligations freely, voluntarily, and without reservation.
I do.
say thank you very much for choosing me. It's been a career of mine for a really long time, and I'm really excited to start working for the city of Groton.
Great. Okay, at this point, we will take a 10-minute recess for cake. That's what we do. Okay, continuing on, we're going to continue with recognitions, awards, and memorials. Anyone? Okay. Receipt of citizens' petitions. Any citizens' petitions? Seeing none, we'll skip response to citizens' petitions. I need a motion for, correction. Need a motion for the approval of the minutes for September 18th, 2017, mayor and council meeting.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries unanimously. Need a motion for September 25th, 2017, committee of the whole meeting minutes.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries unanimously. Communication and reports. Councilor Rusk.
No report.
Councilor Sheffield.
Nothing to report.
Councilor Heed.
Nothing to report.
Councilor Carter. Sorry, my apologies. I do know who you are. My apologies.
Nothing to report.
Okay, thank you. Director Uhas. Hey, it must be that side of the table.
We're just going to do
Patrick.
I do just have something
Oh,
very
yeah.
brief. I attended the fall conference for the Connecticut Town Clerks Association last week, Wednesday through Friday. We sat in on a number of workshops with the Department of Public Health, the ME's office, which was really interesting, Secretary of State, and we had a state agency panel with the Connecticut State Library, Department of Revenue Services, Freedom of Information Commission, and State Elections Enforcement Commission. It was all very, very informative and helps us to do our jobs better. So I'm happy that you allow me to take that time to go to these.
That's great. And this is one of several reports you're going to get over the next couple of weeks. Building Inspector Carlton Smith went to a meeting, and Parks and Rec Director Hill went to a meeting last week, and so they'll be briefing you in the near future. One of the things that we're going to do is a recommendation from Jean-Claude Amoise is when the staff goes on training or attends workshops or things like that, and we'll get them to come back and report out to the council. That way you'll know where your money went and what it's going to do to support the city. Okay, a couple things. This is Public Power Week from 10/1 to 10/7. So since we have a public utility, I wanted to make sure I mentioned that. On 10/18, there will be a public hearing for the water rates. Remember, we talked about increasing water rates as a result of helping to finance the water treatment plant that we're going to do. Another thing is that I've had some residents come and talk to me about the signs that are starting to pop up, and people were saying, wait a minute, I thought we just had election, what's going on? The election we had in May was the city election. The election that is about to occur on November 7th is the town-wide election for town council, board of ed, and RTM. So if you are in the city, you are in the town, and therefore districts 2 and districts 3 will vote in that election. And this election is just as important, if not more so, than the election we had in May. So I just wanted to put that out to clarify. That's why the signs are up, because there was some confusion because people didn't understand that we had 2 elections. A couple of things that one more thing. The East Lyme Police Department would like to join our Regional Drug Task Force that you guys recently approved. So the only, I didn't bring it to you to get a motion or a second and to get approval, because nothing is changing in the task force other than adding an additional member, which is the East Line Police Department. So I just wanted to notify you of the additional department that's going to be added. So nothing else in the memorandum is going to change. Councilor.
Will we need to approve that through the council? Will that?
Did we ever vote on that to begin with?
I don't, yeah, that was the second thing.
We never voted on
I
that.
don't think we had
I thought we
a,
did.
No, it was presented
did.
to us.
I don't,
I
think-
didn't
There
vote
was
on
a,
that.
there was a resolution on it. I'm quite certain.
I
It,
don't,
it was to present it, but
Yeah,
I don't
I
remember we voted. We
I don't
never
think we had
voted
a
on
final
it.
vote for that yet. Yeah, there was a presentation
prior
about it,
to
but yeah, we
this,
didn't have an actual, it was presented, but we didn't, wasn't
Yeah.
sure if everybody signed off. Nobody, we didn't have
didn't
official
vote.
signatures, I don't think, for everybody.
I know I didn't vote on that. This got snuck into it.
Okay, then
It was well before
then we'll
Chief
get back-
Spillman got
we'll get
sworn
back,
in.
we'll
Yes.
get back to you. Okay. Couple of things. On the September the 19th, on Tuesday, September 19th, I attended the Subvets Holland Club lunch. Holland Club, the members are members who are qualified on submarines for 50 years or more. So we talked about diesel submarines because some of these guys were on board diesel submarines. I walked them through the different classes and then talked to them about the Virginia class submarine and the technology that is on that submarine compared to what they had on the diesel boats and the first nuclear submarines they were on. In addition to that, I talked about the Columbia class submarine, which is going to be the largest submarine made, which is going to be 560 feet long. It is going to be ginormous. So on Wednesday the 20th, I attended the Southeastern Connecticut Council of Governments. On the 21st, I attended the Sub-Base Solar Farm ribbon cutting at Polaris Park. That was a great event. It was an opportunity to talk about regionalization and resiliency for the base and for the region with the solar panels, or correction, the solar panels that were installed and then the wiring that was conducted by GU. It was a project with GU, CMEC, the town of Groton, Balfour Beatty, and submarine base. So it was a great event to go to. On Friday, the September 22nd, I attended a mobile food pantry at St. John's Church, sponsored by the United Way. We had 100 people that came through and got food, fruits and vegetables and other food supplies. And typically it's an individual, but they're getting the, not buying, they're getting the food for, the rule of thumb is a family of 4. So we think that we served 400 people that day. So that was good. On the 25th, Monday the 25th, I attended a pre-construction meeting for the water treatment plant, and that was great. That's where everybody got together. We've issued the notice to proceed, and we are starting in that direction now with the water treatment plant. On Wednesday, September 27th, I attended a Groton Utilities Commission meeting and also a joint land use study for the base. On Thursday, the 28th, I attended a CMEC board meeting where they talked about different projects that they're working on. And today was probably the most fun I've had in a long time. I had an opportunity to go to the Regional Multicultural Magnet School in New London and attended 4 different classroom sessions to talk about government and talk about the city and talk about what I do as the mayor and what you guys do as council, and the questions that you get from 7 and 8-year-olds is, even though some of them are scripted, some of them are not, and it was just a tremendous opportunity, and the energy that these young men and women had this morning was, was just tremendous. And one of the things that I brought out to them is I had them look around the room, and when they looked around the room, I said, our city is as diverse as your classroom is, and they are a great makeup, a slice of the community, and each of those classrooms were as diverse as our community is. So that's a great indication, and it's a wonderful thing to remember and to continue, that we're serving the general public. None of us are doing this for what I get paid because I'm doing the day-to-day operations like a town manager, but you guys are all volunteers, and I thank you every day for your service. And one of the things I talked to the kids about was the government's here to serve you and to help do things in public safety and fire and police and those kind of things. And like I said, it was a tremendous way to start the day. And then I went to the Bill Memorial Library where they had Family Safety Day, and the police and the fire department were up there. So that was just a continuation of a great morning. Okay, is there any committee referrals? Okay, we'll continue. Councilor Heat, we're on 140.
Resolution R-17-10-140. Therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council finally approve an ordinance concerning municipal electric utility cooperatives. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. One thing I forgot to mention on that is that I still owe you a ratepayer representative. I'm still looking for that. Also, something that has been determined by the lawyers is that since the city owns the utility and the utility owns Boswell Light and Power, that this council will approve the ratepayer representative from Boswell Light and Power. And my recommendation, I sent out an email tonight. My recommendation to them is that they will pick a ratepayer representative, and then they will make that recommendation to us. That will be presented to you, and then you will approve. So what that does is it still keeps the power with them, so they get to pick the ratepayer. They know them, that individual, and then we meet the legislative requirements of the municipality that is approving the ratepayer representative. So that will also be coming to you in a future date. Okay, where are we? Representative Carter.
Thank you, Mayor.
I'm sorry, Councilor Carter. My goodness, you know what?
Representative.
We'll take that.
Well, maybe that's a portent of things to come.
R-17-10-141. Therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council authorize and approve the expenditure of $15,000 in no cents for the preparation of tax increment finance master plan as a change order to the town of Groton contract with Comoin Associates, 120 West Ave, Suite 303, Saratoga Springs, New York, to be paid from the Community Development and Beautification Fund. I so move.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I received a phone call from the town manager. The council had heard us talking about this, and it was brought up at the council level that they wanted to assist. I sent you an email just to let you know that was coming up. I talked to the town manager. His tasking was to look for money to see if they had money. There was not an amount that was discussed. It was a discussion amongst the councilors briefly and was sent as a gesture. So I give you that information, and you can, I just wanted you to have that information should that impact your decision on this. Like I said, I do not have an amount, and the town manager was looking, but he did not have funding as yet. So.
So if they do find a funding source, then this amount would be reduced by that amount,
It could be,
potentially?
but we would need to come back to the council, I think, right?
No, because this is
Oh,
like, this is kind of like our max amount, the
Okay.
15,000.
Got it.
So if it was to be over 15, we'd have to come back, but if it turns out to be less, we would not have to.
Okay, not a problem. And if, should that happen, then I will,
We just do it as a,
yep, I will let the council know. I will certainly let you know. Okay, Councilor Sheffield?
Is there a timetable as far as a decision by the town to, well,
No.
you know, as far as when we want to get started? Because I'm figuring,
this project's all going to be handled by the town, I believe, so.
They're piggybacking off of that.
Right, they started
Okay.
this. In the beginning, we said that we wanted Thames Street and Five Corners to be on. Somehow, Camoin started with the two TIF districts in the town, and now in order to add us on, then there's the additional cost for doing that. Now, let me think. They are in the process of writing the master plan now for the town, and then they'll just, once they're done, they would shift over to us. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries unanimously. Councilor Rusk.
Thank you. Resolution R-17-10-142. Therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and council authorize and approve the purchase of one model year 2018 International 7400 SFA dump truck from Nutmeg International Trucks Incorporated, 130 Brainerd Road, Hartford, Connecticut, for the price of $163,128.00, fiscal year 2018 capital funds. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? We talked about this during the committee of the whole.
I just wanted to clarify one thing. On this bid last week, you said that it came off the state bid list. The truck itself actually was a piggyback off of the GU bid that they did back in May or June, somewhere in that, I think it's in here. And Tim was able to piggyback off of that bid process that they did. So that's where the truck came from. The body came off the state bid list. So it was two different ones. I just wanted to clarify that because we just said the state bid list last
Okay,
week.
thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries unanimously. Councilor Sheffield?
thank you, Mayor. Resolution R-17-10-143. Therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and council authorize and approve a donation of $1,000 and no cents to Children First Groton, care of Child and Family Agency, 255 Hempstead Street, New London, Connecticut. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? We talked about this at the committee of the whole. Okay, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries unanimously. Councilor Heed?
Resolution R-17-10-144. Therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and council approve the appointment of George Scully, 37 Pennsylvania Avenue, Groton, Connecticut, as a regular member of the Groton Utilities Commission, term to expire on May 31st, 2020. I so move.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Mr. Scully is here tonight, if you would like to speak to him. George, would you mind coming up to the podium? If you remember, we do have an opening in the Utility Commission as a result of a resignation. So, do you have any questions for?
We didn't get any sort of like resume,
Oh, you
so
didn't
can
get-
you give us just some background?
Oh,
on
you didn't get
Sure,
anything in your
I-
packet?
I
Did you not get any?
I need a whole, I'm sorry. I don't have it in front of me. Would you mind just giving me a little bit of background?
I've been a city resident for all but 4 years of my life. I've worked for I just retired from the utilities after 42 and a half years. So I've been around the city my whole life.
George, could you tell them your position when you retired?
I retired as a general foreman of the electric division.
Councilor Sheffield?
And I guess what would you like to see going forward as being on the commission? What things do you know?
Well, I've watched the commission. I've sat through many meetings. I saw a lot of things go by that never were questioned. And having insight on how things work, I think I could be an asset to the board. I worked on the budgets, putting them together, watched them be presented. I think I can offer a lot to the board.
Now, would you also, have your own recommendations as well? You won't shy away, obviously, if you need to step in and.
I gotta get my feet wet first, and
Okay.
and we'll see how it's going.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments from Mr. Scully?
He's also a ratepayer. Is that a requirement to be on the commission?
No. Rephrase your
I said
question.
he's also a ratepayer as well because he lives in Groton City.
Oh, yes, he does live in the Groton City.
Yeah, I live in the city.
That he lives. I mean, I know him well,
Right.
but I'm just telling
Right,
the audience, the viewing audience, that he's also
right. But
But not the ratepayer
you,
position.
thank you.
What's that?
I want to clarify because you almost confused me, and I think what you were trying to clarify.
Okay,
He is a resident of the city of Groton.
correct.
Okay, so therefore he is a ratepayer
Yeah,
as a utility guy.
yeah.
I am asking you to fill the position for the utility commission,
Mm-hmm.
not the ratepayer representative to go to CMAQ.
Oh no.
So I just want to make sure
Oh,
that
no.
was that
I'm just telling everybody that he's a city resident and a ratepayer. So that's what he sees. That's
was clear. Okay. Is there? Just want to be clear.
he's a good guy.
Transparency,
Yep.
right? Okay. Are there any other questions or comments from Mr. Scully?
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, George.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Where am I? I am back to Councilor Rusk.
No,
Oh, no.
you're on Counselor Carter.
Did you?
Mr. Who?
No, that was
Representative.
Counselor
Carter.
Did you just
No.
read that? Who read that?
Counselor Dees read the
Oh,
last
Councilor,
one.
okay, I'm sorry.
I think
Councilor
Tony,
Carter.
I believe so.
Okay,
All right, and we're at 45, correct?
yes, sir.
R-17-10-145. There be resolved that. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, there
Yep.
be resolved that the following transfer be made. Okay. From Community Development and Beautification Special Revenue Funds, amount $15,733.40 to the Economic Development Commission Fund, $15,733.40. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, this is the issue, that we briefly discussed at the committee of the whole, where we had authorized money to be moved from the Community Development Beautification Special Revenue Fund to fund Economic Development Commission. And we never had a motion, we never carried through with that. So it was discussed last year, it was not brought forward to the council. It was identified by Finance Director Uhas, so I'm bringing it in front of the council now so that we can move the money into the correct fund. Okay, so that's why we're doing this. Is there any questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Councilor Rusk.
Thank you. Resolution R-17-10-146. Therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and council waive the bid process and authorize management to enter into a contract for the primary digester repairs at the City of Groton wastewater treatment plant to Hart Engineering Corporation, 800 Scenic View Drive, Cumberland, Rhode Island, in the amount not to exceed $307,000 and no cents, to be paid from insurance proceeds. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Councilor Sheffield?
Yeah, was this the insurance money that was received, that we were waiting on? Or?
We haven't received the insurance money yet. They
Okay.
are gonna, in the meeting that we had with them a week or two ago, last week actually, they're gonna give from us a portion of the funds. They're on board with the process of how we're gonna go about fixing it. So this is to get that process started with the construction company.
And there will be another resolution later tonight that I will introduce that will support this as well. Any other questions or comments on this motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Councilor Sheffield?
Thank you. Resolution R-17-10-147. Therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and council authorize Groton Utilities Management to contribute up to $127,724 and no cents to the Neighborhood Assistance Act NAA program in return for matching tax credits. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? We discussed this during the committee of the whole. Okay, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries unanimously. Councilor Heath?
Resolution 17-10-148, therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council waive the bid process and authorize Groton Utilities Management to issue a purchase order for replacement commercial and residential meters and associated equipment and parts as part of the automated meter reading AMR project to tie sales, water, and wastewater supplies, 36 Hudson Road, Sudbury, Mass., in an amount not to exceed $500,000 and no cents to be paid from funds available in the approved 2016 water bond fund. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? We talked about this during the committee of the whole.
I think you talked about these during UC meeting. I don't think these ones.
Oh, we did not talk about this?
I don't remember.
The
Okay,
last two, I believe, were at the UC meeting.
Okay, my apologies then. This came up during the utility commission meeting. This is one of the challenges that I'm having with the utility commission meetings is to schedule the utility commission meetings so that, I'm trying to get them scheduled so that you guys can get the motions at the committee of the whole, so that you can discuss it and have full debate. We're having some challenges with that, so there are some resolutions that will come to you relatively cold, and this is one of them. Director G'day, could you come up and talk about the water meters and the bond fund?
We just approved new meeting schedule for next year, which moves the meetings to the third Wednesday to beat the COW meeting each month, so that you get to talk about it at the COW before it comes to council. So that happened last week.
Right.
And then the last one you did at the utility commission meeting, you asked what the Buckingham House is. So the William A. Buckingham House, also known as the Buckingham Memorial Hall, is a historic house and fraternal hall at 307 Main Street in Norwich, Connecticut. It's a 2.5-story brick structure with a main block 3 bays wide. I'm on the next one, but I was going back
okay.
Because I said that I'd figure out what the Buckingham House was. And William Buckingham later, he was actually the mayor of Norwich and the governor of Connecticut. So it's a historic house.
So that's the significance
so that
of
fills
that.
you in on the other one.
Yes,
that
thank
I
you.
don't think you talked about at the committee of the whole. That was one of the two. The other one is the Ark, New London. Both good charitable contributions. And remember, when we do that tax donation, it's cost-free to the utility. We get a credit from the state. And then this $500,000 for meters to tie sales is this year's allotment on I believe it was a $2 million project to replace water meters. The new water meters do two things. They have no lead in them, so the water quality is better for the homes, and also they allow for AMI, so that you have drive-by meter readers to automate the billing system.
Any questions or comments for Director Gooday? Okay, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries unanimous. Where are we?
49.
That's Council Clerk?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
R-17-10-149. Therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and council authorize and approve contract with Action Air Systems Incorporated, 131 Adams Street, Manchester, Connecticut, for the renovations to the HVAC system at the City Municipal building in the amount not to exceed $405,000 and no cents, to be paid for the various public improvement bond funds, Neighborhood Assistance Act, grant proceeds in FY 18 or 18 budgeted on undesignated capital projects. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. This is another one that is new to you. We did not discuss this at the committee of the whole. This is one of the projects, for those of you that have been on the council for a couple of years, we have been looking at the HVAC system. We now have found a vendor who's willing to look at this. We're going to do this in phases. One of the challenges that we had was, how do we want to do it? Do we want to replace the unit and then the ducting in one area and then work our way across? Or do we want to go with just replacing the units first? Because we have units that don't work, so there are areas that are hot when they should be cool and areas that are cold when they should be warm. So I made the decision to replace the units, and that's where this total amount comes to $405,000. And then at a later date, we're going to do the next part of the phase, once we find money, is to do the ducting. Because the ducting is okay, but there's some flow balance issues with some of the ducting. But if you fix the ducting and you don't fix the units, that doesn't make sense to me. So that's why I'm saying put the units in. And with that, I'll get Tim Ummers to come up, and Tim, you can talk some more about this.
This has gone out to bid before. We only had one company put proposal in, so we thought it was best interest to rebid it. This time we had two companies. One is the same as the first one, and he actually came in lower this time. Like the mayor said, we plan on doing the units on the roof, all the big units on the roof. Also, in the police station, the air handler, in the basement, in the locker rooms, men, women, in the bathroom, we'll get new air exchanger and a new unit there. The air's been pretty stale down there, it's not circulating properly. So that will be complete in this job. So there is one piece of ductwork and heaters being done in the basement of the locker rooms.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments for Tim? Councilor Rusk?
It's not specifically for Tim, it's just kind of in general. We approved this big renovation project, and I feel like there's a number out there, and we're kind of piecemealing taking money out of that, and I don't know where we're at.
Okay.
And I feel like without that in front of me, I hate to continuously approve different pieces without knowing where we're at in total. I agree this has to be done.
Nope, understand. Well, one of the issues I had is that when I first come on, this was the project itself was approved 2 or 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so we started moving it forward, and now we're at this point. I understand your concern. Director Uhas, can you help?
I think you're referring to the reauthorized bond funds.
Right.
We reauthorized $400,000, and we had the list of projects that we had. The biggest one being the HVAC units, which was $240,000 of that 400. Out of all of that 400,000 today, we've authorized $35,000, which we've had 35,000 or a little bit over that we have not spent yet, but are kind of earmarked. The fire alarm system, the simplex, the 31,000 from that. There's a piece of the engineering, just under 4,000 for the HVAC that we haven't actually spent yet.
And that's all, I'm sorry, that's all in that 35?
That's the 31,560 is for the fire alarm, which was part of the 25,000 of the 400,000.
Mm-hmm.
I can hand this sheet out to you too after.
That'd be great.
And try to break out. And out of the 240,000 for the HVAC units, we've authorized and haven't spent just under 4,000, which is for what's left on the BL contract for the engineering services. We spent just under 19,000 with BL to do the drawings and get the bid documents together. So there's $217,400 left in the bond fund money out of that 240 that we've authorized. If you recall, last year, we also, actually, they just approved the neighborhood assistance grant for Groton Utilities. We were the recipient of the one from Bosra Light and Power last year for this HVAC unit project, which was just under $117,000. So when you take the $217,400 that's remaining and the $116,854, that gives us $334,000 for the HVAC, which leaves a balance of just under $70,000, which we're proposing to use out of, in this current year's budget, the $175,000 that we had for undesignated capital projects, to potentially use up to $70,000 of that money, which would leave $100,000 for additional capital projects that we see fit throughout the year. And the reason why we thought it was the right thing to do all these add-ons at one time is because there will be a crane involved to do the lift. So if we came back a year later to do additional units, the cost would probably be more because they'll have to mobilize a crane again.
Well, and one of the concerns that I had is that the cost for the crane is a fixed cost. So getting it on site costs us a certain amount. So if we can get it on site one time and do multiple units, as opposed to having it bring it back 3 or 4 times, in the end, it saves us money. So that was one of the things that I was trying to look at, because I understand that money is tight on the bonds and things like that. Another thing that we're trying to do is we have some bonds that are out there that we're paying interest on that I do want to use. And this is a worthy project.
Absolutely.
Any other questions or comments? Councilor Sheffield?
So Ron, after this project, how much is left over from that bond that was approved by the Freeman, would be left over?
So what that'll leave is we've already done the rear doors, which we had 25,000 set aside for, so there'll be 1,000 left from that we can reallocate. We're in the process of doing the bathroom renovations, which we set aside 20,000. The brick pointing of 10, the retaining wall of 5. Building renovations or office repairs, we had set aside 65,000. The fire alarm system actually went over, which we talked about when we brought that in, so that's over the amount allocated of 6,500. And then there's a project with the rear ramp that we set aside 10,000 for engineering. So it'll be around 100,000
left
for all
over.
those projects.
Probably as far as for use, but what about leftover? Do you know how much would?
Oh, I don't from them bonds that we, for the Colonel Ledger, what was left, I don't have that number offhand, but I can find that out.
Can we get all those numbers just so we know where we're at? Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Any other questions? Do you want those numbers before you vote on this, or do you?
I feel like we need them. I feel like to make,
Okay.
I guess ultimately, no. I guess we can move forward on this but I really would love to see numbers every time.
Okay.
When we're doing a major project like this, it's hard to, I feel like we don't know where we're at.
Well, I don't want you to be pressured. Can we, for the next council meeting, for the next meeting, next Monday? No, sorry, the following Monday. 2 weeks. Can we have a breakdown of where we are with money so that the council knows?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's important.
Yeah, so something that shows what we've spent and what's left.
What we spent plus what we have left.
Right.
Right.
Is this time sensitive? Does this need to be, do we need to know this?
It is because of the time it takes to order and make the equipment. You're talking anywhere from 6 to 8 or 4 to 8, I can't remember, 4 to 8 weeks to order it. They could be doing, if they awarded this, they could be doing a lot of the stuff in the basement and other things, but the sooner it gets to them, the quicker we can. We're trying to get it before December, before the weather really sets in.
I'm fine with moving forward.
Okay, but I don't want you to feel pressured. It is important to me that you have time to discuss and debate this.
I feel like we've been able to go through the numbers.
Okay.
I personally need to see them visually.
Can you, you can provide us a document?
Yeah.
Okay,
But
we'll provide you a document at the next meeting.
But I'm okay with.
Is that acceptable? Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. I need a motion to add Resolution R-17-10-150 to the agenda.
So moved.
Amend the agenda to add.
Oh, I need to amend the agenda to add Resolution R-17-10-150.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, say aye.
Aye.
All in favor, say aye, rather. Opposed, abstention, the motion carries. Counselor Rusk?
Thank you. Resolution, oh, do we have enough for everybody here?
Well,
No.
no, this is,
Okay. Resolution R-17-10-150. Therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and council waive the bid process and provisionally authorize management to enter into a contract for engineering services for the primary digester cover repairs at the City of Groton wastewater treatment plant to Wright Pierce, 10 Dorrance Street, Providence, Rhode Island, in the amount not to exceed $45,000 and no cents, to be paid from insurance proceeds. I so move.
Second.
okay, we have a motion and a second. The information was delivered to you this afternoon, so it's in front of you. We just got this today. This is another one that is for the digester. The reason that we have provisionally is that there's some we're working out a couple of the nuances to the contract. And once we get those worked out with your approval, then I will sign the agreement between the City of Groton and Wright Pierce. One of the things that we're going to do, this was a change, but it's one of the things that I wanted to see, and the insurance company agreed with me, and that is we're going to bring in the manufacturer of the lid, and they will come in and they're going to inspect the lid and determine whether or not it's acceptable or not, and they'll provide us with documentation that it is acceptable to use. Because my concern is something could have happened to it that could cause structural failure. So the Wright Pierce, they're going to go out and subcontract to, I think it's Envirodyne, right? Envirodyne is the manufacturer, and then they will come in, and then Wright Pierce will get things set up. They'll be the ones actually moving the, lifting the lid so that it can be inspected. So that's what this is about. Any questions or comments on this? Anything additional that you want to add? Okay. Okay, any other questions? All right, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries unanimously. We do not have an executive session. So with that, I will take a motion for adjournment.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.